Hi friends, today let us discuss about an important topic in ophthalmology, that is hypermetropia. So, what is hypermetropia? Hypermetropia is also called as hyperopia or long-sightedness. So, what is it? Its definition. Parallel rays coming from the infinity are focused behind the retina. Generally, they have to be focused on the retina. In this case, the parallel rays coming from the infinity are focused beyond the retina. So, the image is not formed properly. So, we see blurred image. So, what is etiology? What is its cause? Based on etiology, it is of 5 types: axial hypermetropia, curvatural hypermetropia, index hypermetropia, positional hypermetropia, aphakia, and consecutive hypermetropia. So, let us discuss one by one. Axial hypermetropia. So, what is it? Axial shortening of eyeball about 1 millimeter. For suppose, this is the anterior posterior diameter of the eyeball. In these people, the diameter is shortened, anterior posterior diameter or length is shortened. It may be developmental, physiological or non-physiological. Like they are called as micro-ophthalmia or nanophthalmia because their eyes are small. Next, curvatural hypermetropia. What happens in these people is cornea or lens or both, the curvature decreases. That means it becomes flat. So, 1 millimeter increase in curvature or the flattening causes defect in 6 diopter of lens. Next, index hypermetropia. In these people, refractive index of lens is decreased. It happens due to old age or in diabetes patients. Next one, positional hypermetropia. Here, the lens are posteriorly placed, crystalline lens. Absence of crystalline lens is called as aphakia. Coming to the last one, it is consecutive hypermetropia. That means it is an overcorrected myopia or during a surgery. If an underpowered intraocular lens is implanted, it leads to consecutive hypermetropia. So, what are the clinical types of hypermetropia? There are 4 clinical types. First is congenital. As the name suggests, it occurs at birth. It is actually anisometropia. That means one eye is small than other. Magnitude of refractive error is high and it is constant throughout the life. Next is simple hypermetropia. It is the most common due to normal biological variations in eyeball development. It includes developmental axial hypermetropia, developmental curvatural hypermetropia. Next, pathological or acquired hypermetropia. It is the abnormal development of eye. It may be microphthalmos, nanophthalmos, microcornea, congenital posterior subluxation of lens, congenital aphakia. Next, the 4th type is secondary hypermetropia or functional hypermetropia. It is secondary to other eye disorders. Like it includes senile hypermetropia that occurs at old age. In it may be index or curvatural. Next, positional, that is posterior dislocation of lens. Next, acquired aphakia, that is absence of lens, or consecutive or acquired curvatural hypermetropia or functional hypermetropia. So, these are the clinical types of hypermetropia. Now, total hypermetropia. It includes latent and manifest hypermetropia. So, what is latent hypermetropia? It is the one which can be corrected by the tone of ciliary muscles, and manifest hypermetropia can be facultative or obstructive. Facultative it can be corrected by accommodative effort, and absolute cannot be corrected by accommodative effort. So, what are the clinical features of hypermetropia? They include signs and symptoms. So, what are symptoms? It may be asymptomatic. That means small amount of correction is there which can be corrected by accommodative effect. Next, asthenopic symptoms. Hypermetropia fully corrected by accommodation. That means if sustained accommodation is done where our eye strains a lot and develops asthenopic symptoms. That includes tiredness of eyes, frontal or frontotemporal headache, watering of eyes, mild photophobia. So next is defective vision with asthenopic symptoms. it is not fully corrected by accommodation. So defective vision occurs, and along with it asthenopic symptoms also occurs. Next, defective vision only, that means hypermetropia occurs, which cannot be corrected neither by accommodation. So blurring of vision is there, so for which we have to use lens. Grading. So next we will see about the signs of hypermetropia. In it, eyeball size decreases, cornea becomes smaller, anterior chamber becomes shallow. Retinoscopy reveals the hypermetropia. In fundus examination, small optic disc, which is more vascular with ill-defined margins, are seen. Next, A-scan ultrasonography reveals the short anterior-posterior diameter and axial hypermetropia. So lens is also dislocated, mostly in the posterior direction. Next, coming to the grading of hypermetropia, it can be graded into 3, that is low, moderate, high. In low, the error is less than 2 diopter. In moderate, the error is from 2 diopter to 5 diopter. In high, the error is greater than 5 diopter. So what are the complications of hypermetropia? They can be recurrent stye, blepharitis, chalasia due to repeated rubbing of eye. Accommodative convergent squint may occur. Amblyopia can occur, which may be tropic, strabismus or ametropic. Primary narrow angle glaucoma can occur. Why it occurs? Because eye and anterior chamber are small in these people, but the lens grows in size with age. Due to it, narrow angle glaucoma can occur. So what are the investigations can be done in it? So retinoscopy can be done, which measures how much hypermetropia is there, or autorefractory testing can be done, or A-scan ultrasonography can be done. So next, coming to the treatment. So as we all know, it can be optic treatment or surgical treatment. Optic treatment is used converging lens, that is convex lens, that through spectacles or contact lens. Or surgical treatment includes some procedures such as corneal based procedures and lens based procedure. Corneal based procedures includes thermal laser keratoplasty, conductive keratoplasty, LASIK and others. Lens based procedures include phakic refractive lens, implantable contact lens, refractive lens exchange. So this is the case. Normally in hypermetropic patients, the parallel rays coming from the infinity are focused at a point behind the retina, and which can be corrected by a convex lens, which are converging lens. So these rays coming from the infinity are converged on the retina, and they can see a clear image. Thank you. Hope you all understood it.